Hello viewers, Kubiyando Kith and Kin, I'm SB and welcome back to Roadwarden, where today I think we're gonna have to actually pick a side here. We're gonna have to actually choose a lane. So far we've been able to just kind of go along and tell everybody that we were basically on their side. But it's coming down to we have to pick at the very least between the goals of the mayor and the goals of these druids here. There are a lot of people in this peninsula who do not want there to be any kind of expansion, any kind of foreign interest or whatever. But that's I feel like a very different thing than this concern, which is just Howler's Dell specifically does not need to be any larger or more resourced. And I guess, like, to some extent, this is important in that larger struggle because Howler's Dell is already kind of in a position to determine what's going to happen to a lot of the rest of the peninsula, given their position relative to the safe roads, their ability to interact with people from the south, and also the relative prosperity. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm inclined to go with the druids on this, right? Like, I think from a character perspective, it makes the most sense for our character to agree with the druids that the wilds of this place need to be respected, and that further human development, further souled development, is not necessarily to the benefit of that. But we also, it sure sucks being on the side of this issue that is not the side that all the people with the money are on, because I sure do need money. Maybe if we help the druids out, in particular the druid to the south of this, we can get our loved one's illness taken care of in some other way. Maybe just a little bit of magic to solve that problem. Gosh, it sure would be nice. I don't know if this game is I don't know if this game will allow us to resolve an ending in that way. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna tell me more. You need to make this a little bit more explicit for me. Our people need no more gluttony, no more opulence. No creature can ever gain everything that it dreams of, and that's a hurtful pursuit, a run that breaks limbs. Her lips get thinner. Thace's heart belongs to Havlavan. Give her what she wants now and she'll be weakened. When the day of hardship comes, she will not have enough strength to accept it. Yeah, so it's just politics, right? I mean, this feels disrespectful, and it also feels a little bit stupid to say out loud because, like, yeah, of course that's what's happening. But I would like to push for more engagement here, and we don't have a lot of other options. Okay, so if you expect me to lie, I need to hear your offer. Her eyes shine, lively as lightning. We do not trade, stranger. We do not beg, do not bribe, do not promise. We give what is deserved. We do what needs to be done. If your shell is empty, you'll do what's right. Yeah, that's kind of what I was afraid of. I nod and change the topic. Yeah, alright, farewell. What am I going to tell the mayor? We have 7 hours before dusk. I should go back out there and actually try to get down to, try to get to the beach, right? Yeah, this is the right one. For some reason, I completely forgot how the map was shaped. Oh, can you tell it's been kind of a long couple of days for me. Anyway, let's ride out past where the rockfall was and see what we can see. The longer you follow the corridor of hills, the more daring the harpies get. Oh, right, the harpies weren't a problem before because there were so many of us. Observing you as they lower their flight. For now, there's 5 of them. Their fluttering bat-like wings let them hang in a spot, though loudly. The creatures are smaller than goblins, with ape-like features and talons that make you think of a parrot. Their fur is in shades of browns and grays. I actually was a little bit startled by the animal growl in my ear. You could try to get through them, but you have to scare them off for good. Otherwise, you won't be able to ride back east uphill. Yeah. Some blinding powder or something, some alchemical stuff seems like it would be really useful. My armor's in pretty good shape. I'm feeling pretty hardy. Maybe we just bulldog them? I have to get rid of them for good. How would I do that? My guess is we're going to find that that's not really an option here. I don't know. Let's try it. Let's see what I can do. You keep riding forward and unpack every piece of equipment that could be of use here. It'd be better to weaken the beasts before you clash with them. Sadly, I have no crossbow and no potions of help, but I do have an axe and this wonderful gambeson, so... You find comfort in the rhythm dictated by your palfrey, but you'll struggle to protect both of you, not to mention trying to push away the onslaught. You have to use your axe to scare away anything from reaching Agro's eyes. Yeah. Alright, I'm feeling strong enough to stay on the offense, frankly. The beasts are too slow to dodge your strikes, but there's enough of them to surround you, sinking into your other arm. Once you cut through one of their necks, the others let you be, exchanging sad glances as they land next to their wounded allies. After not even half an hour, you hear the sound of the sea. Okay, so our armor took a little bit of damage. That's not too bad, though. That could have been a lot worse. The coast is a mixture of green and gray, with sands already covered by the water. The waves hit the land fiercely, but can't put an end to the screeching of seagulls. The signs of human presence are fading away. The grasses overgrow the path, the palisade and building are already collapsing. The lonely tree, still bearing signs of human pruning, is unkempt and wild. You see no smoke or lights. I keep Agro close. There may be something hidden behind a rock. In the north, you find tall rocks sticking out of the land like fingers of a buried troll. The southern brook hides even more grasses and shrubs, which end with yet another rock face. There are no obvious obstacles that would block you from entering the village, but there's also enough space to look around the wall, and I do feel like looking before we just wander inside seems like the smart move here. We could cross the brook here. There's this little... Let's go north to the shore first. The farther north you go, the more the grass gets replaced by sand. You walk by dozens of rocks, many of which are much larger than you, or even 2 or 3 people standing on top of each other. Much larger than you, or even 2 or 3 people standing on top of each other. They're big rocks. The way I read that, I don't think the stress was very clear. The land reaching from this point to the distant steep cliff is desolate. One could bring here a treasure, bury it under any of those silent sentinels, and then never find it again. What a weird thing to think. Anyway, back to the gate. Let's walk along the palisade here, just trying to get an eye through it. You tell Agro to drink from the brook and enter the narrow path. The building, which has a door leading outside of the palisade, is closed, and its roof is collapsed. On the ground, you find a wooden bowl, a mug, a spoon, and a fishing rod. All of them are rotten, broken, or swollen by rains and hoarfrosts. Being by the bank of the brook, you look south, but find no human beings. Crossing the brook is not going to get us any more information about what's in here, so I guess this is the time? The roaring ocean overwhelms the whimper of soggy, broken beams. The huts would take a lot of work, but are not beyond restoration, especially the one in the center, whose simple roof has managed to protect its walls. By its open entrance, you spot a bucket of water as well as boot prints. No, I am not going to open threateningly. Anyone here? I don't want to hurt you. After a few breaths, the tall, slim woman steps onto the threshold. Her strong longbow is resting against her hip, and you spot the arrow quills sticking out from the quiver. She's standing sideways to you, ready to take a shooting stance. This, combined with her raised chin, gives her a proud, confident look. If she's a traveler, it's unusual that she carries no major scars, bruises, or wounds. She's tanned with flaxen, curly hair that is too short to reach her shoulders. It's disorderly and of uneven length, most likely cut with a dagger. Her upper lip is unusually large. I don't know that any of, a thief most likely. From what? If she's got a longbow, you have to have some skill to hit anything with a longbow, right? And practice, because longbows, like a classically strung longbow is going to have, a serious pull weight, right? So I don't, none of this here reads thief or runaway slave to me. These seem like very strange guesses. Maybe she's a big game huntress. I don't think we have enough information to make any kind of guess, really. Her worn, baggy tunic has no sleeves, and her legs are uncovered, showing how impeccably clean her skin is. She observes you keenly, but her sparkling, curious hazel eyes carry no anger. Okay, I don't hate that. This is friendly but not overly so. I don't like disarming joke. Not that I think is bad for the situation. It just doesn't feel like our character. Staying neutral might make sense. She's pretty neutral right now. Let's just let us feel each other out slowly and carefully, yeah? I didn't expect to find anyone else in these ruins. I'm not just someone. She raises her shoulders. 'Tis my home, and I do not plan to share it. What are you doing here? I really loved the first sentence. I wish I could say it without the second one. I'm a Roadwarden. I need to learn more about this land. She clicks her tongue and looks away, observing the sand dancing in the wind. So, there's a new one already. But there's no much for you to find here. There aren't even ghosts here. Okay, who are you? Just a friendly recluse. She draws the bowstring gently. Though no very patient one. Better tell me what brought you here. Well, I mean, if I'm gonna have to admit this eventually, and I think I am, I may as well just do it now, right? Yeah, okay. The people of Howler's Dell want me to check on this place. They feel it belongs to them. Nay, let's they troll shit one another. What does Theus want? Coming from her mouth, the mayor's name is like a toothache. And what makes you think it's her? Everyone else has given up on this place. Only she still brings it up. If your horse is here, someone helped you with the rocks, and nae farmer would come here without an order. Well, she wanted me to take a look, yeah, see if there are any monsters here. Blood on all of it. She looks at the gate, lets out a huff, then straightens up and meets your eyes. She must know what you've seen. She points at you with the tip of her bow. Do not tell her I'm here. Better yet, do not tell her the place is standing. You're her daughter, the one who was slaughtered by goblins. Aye, that's my story, and I need it to stay this way. Asterion helped me. My tears well up in her eyes, and her brown cheeks blush. Her voice fills up with spite. Theus takes whatever fits in her talons. She was pushing me into marriage out of spite, to punish me. But I will never be chained by her. I will never be chained, neither by her, nor by others. I am a master of the bow, the hunt, and spells of mine. I'll come back as my own soul, as Aegidia the archeress, nay a mayor's daughter, and she'll have nae power over me. Okay. That's complicating. I'm definitely picking a side as we speak. Why do you want the villagers to stay away? I feel like none of these are good questions to ask right now. This is I suppose a thing I do need to be concerned with, but asking it at this moment makes me come across as terribly mercenary and definitely not a friend. And these two, like, she just answered this, and this one is just because then Theus will know. Like, I guess the one I feel least stupid saying is this one, but none of these are good. She pulls the string of her bow. I'm now bard, words escape me, and my pain shall die with me. But Elpis, a forest speaker, also knows the real mayor. She wants others to see her as strong at all costs. She swings the bow like a staff right above the ground, as if to hit invisible legs. And she punishes those who stand against her. And I did the worst crime of them all. She makes a dramatic pause. I doubted her. All right, why do you want the villagers to stay away? They're going to make me ask all of this stuff, aren't they? She puts a hand on the tip of her bow and starts to stroke it with her fingers. I hope howlers will prosper, I do. But they already have more than they can eat. I'll meet with the forest speakers after the first thaw and show them I can handle this place. I'll be its guardian, live here with my friends, and near the mayor's eye. She steps closer to you. The corners of her eyes are turning red. I need it more than they need some fish. Yeah, okay. I'm sympathetic to this. It definitely feels a little bit presumptuous, though. You don't have the right. Hold on about this. She's just talking about. I'm with her on this. They already have more than they could eat. This is not the well-being of the village. Okay, you're assuming a lot here. You can't expect all your plans to succeed. I can and I do. I know these folks, traveler. You sound like the mayor right now. Only she is allowed to take risks. Only she can make mistakes. Only she can be brave. Well, she straightens up, grasping her bow firmly. I carry a brave soul. I'm ready to be wrong and to face consequences, if that's the only path to freedom. The druids don't control the village. Theus does. She controls what my neighbors let her control, and only because she's good at hiding from them what they do not want her to see. Or what they do not want to see. Hiding from them what they don't want to see. But let her fail. She smiles. Let the others hear that their good old fishing spot has turned into ruins. Once I'm back, this moment of weakness may make just the difference. Okay. Well, I guess we've gotten to the point where I can't not say it. What's in it for me? She chews on her lower lip and straightens up. A favor for a favor. She looks into your eyes. Keep my secret, and one day I'll help you back. In the wilderness, my talents are of great value. She raises her bow slightly. One that's been able to stay alive all by herself for half a year. Yeah, okay. I was loosely inclined to side with the druid in the southwest when we first met him. And I think everything I'm learning about this situation makes me want to kind of continue on that. Maybe we want to bring back a false report to Hovlevan, or maybe not return to Hovlevan at all. I think I'm on the side of I've already forgotten her name now. Nope, not this one. The archive. It was a good one. It was a good name. Agidia, yeah. All right, I'm ready to give you my answer. She observes you in silence, drawing short lines in the sand with her foot. I'll cover for you. I trust you'll put the time you have to good use. She closes her eyes, takes a few deep breaths, and starts to walk around you, with light steps that turn into skipping. There are tears in her eyes. I do feel like I'm kind of going out on a limb here in a very serious way against probably the greatest economic power in the region. Here's hoping that that doesn't come back to bite me in the ass in an extremely serious way. Oh, thank you, thank you. I'd hug you, but... Oh well. She waves her hand in front of her, drawing your attention to the rags she's wearing. Egidia asks you to give her a few minutes, and you return to Agro. Once she returns, her hair is combed, and she's wearing a brown linen tunic, slightly darker than her skin, with red trim on its neck and sleeves, long enough to reach her knees. It's as good as new, a relic of Thea's luxuries. Okay, so you knew him. Tell me about Asterion. She touches her lips with the tip of her bow. Well, I didn't know where he is. I spent little time with him, but he's a stranger with a pure heart, like it's made of iron. She glances at you. He doesn't talk much. Must be a warden thing, aye? Nay, I will not stay around, he said. She tries awkwardly to imitate a male voice. I ride east next. East, I ask? To Howlers? Farther, he said. To the Enchantress, maybe. Even farther than that. His own words. She looks at you triumphantly. What? Oh, he means the tribe of the Green Mountain, I'm sure. That's where they live. Away from any road. I'm not even sure how to find them. Maybe one of the forest speakers could guide you. Okay, the tribe of the Green Mountain. That's interesting. Have you ever been to the heart of the woods? Nay, we do not hunt for beasts beyond the nearest hills and ponds. If I were to enter the deep roads, I'd have some long preparations to do. Good gambeson, sharp blade, healthy shell, food in my belly and in a sack. She glances at Agro and can't stop her chuckle. And I'd take someone with me, or a group of someone's. But you already have all the help you need, I see. Yeah, is it safe to rest here during the night? She points her bow at the broken palisade. I didn't know. You tell me. I'm not sharing my shelter with you. Your horse wouldn't fit through the door anyway. You better turn back to Howlers. Okay, so how did you manage to survive for so long all by yourself? It wasn't so hard, but it'll change now with the road cleared for larger beasts. She bites her lower lip. I eat birds, some green leaves from the top of the cliff to keep my hair strong. She touches it with an open palm. And I learned how to catch the small fish from the stream. The nights are not much better than in the woods, I admit. If not for my spell, the monsters would have gotten through many times. The door is not enough. My smell is around, you see. They know I'm but food. You're a spellcaster, you ask, and she playfully touches her canine with the tip of her tongue. I have many talents. Pray to nay learn them all. She did say that earlier. It seems like a weird question to ask. Well, I suppose it's time for me to leave then. Safe travels, she says with a smile and pats your palfrey's neck. You leave the hamlet. I guess at this point I may as well cross the brook. The area is surrounded by cliffs like an antechamber in a palace. The meadow here is modest, but still lengthy enough for Agro to enjoy it. You count the tree stumps and boughs and realize that this lea is but a dead shell of a lush corpse, a clearing left behind by the settlers. A single shrub is still alive, too weak to withstand the sun and winds all by itself. You think of the roots spreading beneath your boots, now dead and rotting. Let's check the shore over here. You found an ocean necklace. The stones here are almost as huge as a building, both on land and in the water. You can only guess how much space they occupy beneath the surface. You inspect the dead tree growing by the brook and find an old necklace among its roots. It's made from a leather strip now covered in mold, a long cream-colored seashell, and a few thin, round flakes, most likely made of a sea monster's tooth. You try to wash it, but to no avail. Well, I guess I'll just hold on to it then. What about the harbor over here? You walk by the small garden that carries a few bean plants and not many weeds. You leave Agro behind and take a walk on the wooden logs of the massive bridge. They're in a much better shape than the other structures here, and the boat is almost new, still shining proudly from varnish. You look back at the nearby building. While restoring all of the structures to their former functionality will be rough, there is a lot to work with. Dace would be pleased. Alright. How long will it take to get back? An hour 30. Yeah, I mean, there's no sense in trying to go all the way up to the garden. No sense in coming back to the village, to the Elder's Cave without that fish, I'm sure. Our own fishing traps are like all the way back here, right? I guess there's nothing really to do except head back. We have a couple of hours that we can't really put to good use here. It's not the worst thing that ever happened. You approach the opening gate, then swiftly dismount. A guard approaches you, ready to take your mount to a stable. Welcome, Samhain. How's the outside world for you? Yeah, we could hang out and gossip for a bit. The curious locals gather around to take part in your conversation. Recently, two groups of local kids have invented a new way to wrestle for points, and they're now trying to outdo one another in small contests. We enter the village. Where's this? You approach the inn. It's getting darker, but not much colder. More than a dozen locals are gathered around. Okay. When she notices your approach, she smiles and invites you to sit down. Maybe this would be a good time to press a little bit. Now that we're sort of like quietly taking sides against her. You know, you seem to be fairly well off, even more so than the other people in the village. What is your secret? She reaches for her buckle and her voice grows cold. There's no secret, traveler. There's hard work, risks and sacrifices, and the support of those that care about me. The good things that happen to me shine on my people just as much. Think about it before you mention it again. Okay, she did not like that. I grabbed the necklace I found at the hamlet. Have you ever seen such a trinket? She reaches for it, but doesn't touch it. In her green eyes, you notice disgust. Let me think, she mutters. No, I can't say I have. An ugly little thing, but tells me nothing. I'm reluctant to ask her about this, just because I don't want to give away, I don't know for sure that saying this would give away that I'd spoken to her daughter, but it might, right? We've not heard too many people, we've not heard anybody else say anything about this tribe of the Green Mountain. It could be that that our predecessors' desire to go meet the tribe of the Green Mountain was known to very few. It feels too dangerous while also being too unlikely to yield any meaningful information. Hey, about that fishing hamlet. I've been to the hamlet. She puts on a wide, expectant smile. You notice a few more wrinkles around her eyes. According to your tale, the hamlet is uninhabitable, even if empty. You portray the demolished rotten cabins, harpy nests, and the collapsed ground. Dace's eyes lose their spark, but she keeps her composure and even asks for more details. After you finish, she leans forward and rests her cheek on her hand. You don't even notice where the pouch in her hand came from. Well, at least the harpies left your eyes alone. Did they bother you? She slowly counts down 3 dragon bones, placing them on the table loudly. Yeah, they did. I mean, I did have to cut a harpy in half, and she said she would pay me extra. Yeah, I nod. You wouldn't believe the scent of their blood. She adds another 3 bones. I hear you. No trophies from those freaks. Here's your compensation. She observes her pale fingers without a word, then asks you to give her a minute. After she returns from the inn, her lips are covered with a new layer of rouge, darker than usual. One of her sons carries a large bag made of leather, and after you peek inside, you find a sheet of parchment rolled onto 2 wooden handles. The scroll is new, heavy, tied with a tight linen cord, sealed with wax. You've proven yourself trustworthy, both to me and my neighbors, says the mayor. Take this letter to the masters of the guild. May the negotiations begin. With a smile, she reaches out her hand. I am going to continue acting friendly with her. I think that it's important that we do so, especially as we turn against her interests. I shake it with enthusiasm. It was my pleasure. Fantastic, she says with a radiant smile. Her hand is as soft as that of a wealthy merchant. Do you need anything else? Do you have any more need of my assistance? She licks her lips. Let me think about it, won't you? In the meantime, you could bring me some delightful rumors. Yeah, okay, thank you for your time. Let's, so we should have a fair amount of money now. Was it just 6? Wasn't there a payout to be given just for going to clear the rocks? I thought we were going to get paid for clearing the rocks, then again for going to the hamlet itself, and then again if we got harassed by animals, if we had to fight at any point. Maybe I misunderstood. I'm gonna go, yeah, to the druids. I think we gotta talk about some stuff. I whisper, making sure none of the workers can hear me. The hamlet will stay as it is. She smiles gently, then steps back and bows deeply. Seeing this, the nearby druids also lower their heads. The others may not know it yet, but you've chosen their safety over their greed. Your kind heart will be remembered. And I met Aegidia. She says you don't think much of Thays. When she responds to your brief tale, you can't tell if her whisper is filled with reprimand or appreciation. It doesn't fit me to put one soul above another. 'Tis true that the mayor pushes the village into a time of struggle, but not because of bad will. And that's what she was taught, and what saves her from her own past. She pursues power, and there's weakness in it. I do think she needs to change, for everyone's sake. But each one of us struggles to bloom, not just her. Her blue eyes resemble light flower petals. Okay, well, good enough. I feel like we've done what needs doing then. I am really having a hard time putting together much money. I guess I'm just going to wander around and ask everybody about the necklace. May as well. We go back to the tailor and show her the necklace I found at the hamlet. Have you ever seen such a trinket? She looks at it for only 2 breaths. In Gale Rocks. They do like their shells and fish. 'Tis like when some people wear claws and tusks. She pushes it back to you. Maybe when it was still new, 'twas pretty. Okay, yeah, we go ask about it in Gale Rocks, I suppose. I need your services, so we could pay her a little bit to just repatch our Gambeson. I think it might be worth it, honestly. Like, this thing could save our life, right? It's as good as it's getting. And then I think just sleep. And the thing is, like, we have no particular reason to do the in sleep. The free one is a little bit costly in terms of stats, right? Hunger and cleanliness. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll do the Mouflon pelt tonight. Let's go to Akakios. What do you have for sale? That wooden lantern. This was where it was. I couldn't remember. I mean, it sure would be nice to have that wooden lantern. I don't think I want to spend all of our money on it. We had a conversation with somebody at Creeks about a wooden lantern, right? Ah, bloody hell, I can't remember what it was that they said to us. I'll show him the necklace I found at the hamlet. He doesn't know what it is and he doesn't want it. Okay. Got goods to sell? Nope. No, I don't, actually. So we do need to buy food, but let's ask this first. I'm looking for a few hunters. Admin, Dahlia, Vashel. He rubs his neck and looks at the clouds. I recognize those names, but I've seen no folks from Creeks in a long time. They come here before and after winter to trade for grains. Okay, yeah. 2 filling meals, which won't spoil anytime soon. So I have no real rations on me right now. I want to provide those 6 meals to what's his name? I think it's probably very important that we do so. So if we do this, we still have 2 meals worth of fruit on us. Hopefully we can give them all of that, and then we have a little bit of food on us, plus 2 bones to deal with, whatever. I think that's going to have to do. Yep, let's get some rest. There's a lot of noise outside, and you can sense a heavy, unpleasant smell coming from the cauldron. At least the fur is fluffy, and you can cover yourself with your blanket. As you prepare your belongings, you realize the days are getting noticeably shorter. The closer you get to autumn, the less time you'll have before the beasts of the nights leave their lairs. For now, it won't be that bad, but I better make sure not to waste too many hours. Okay, that's a concern that I am not too happy to have to deal with. It's warm here, but the mouflon skin allows your back to rest a bit. You wake up a couple of times during the night. The smell of the cooked stew fuels your hunger, and the staff returns to the room once every hour or so to stir the pot. You wake up early, but leave the building to check up on Agro and give it water from the creek. The innkeeper is sitting near the door, from time to time carrying out another bowl with either stew or gruel. The ace is nowhere to be seen. That's fine, we got stuff to do. I think we can just get rolling here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to press the travel button. Alright, so first things first. Back to the gate. Oh, he wants rations specifically, not just 6 meals. Well, fine, we can do that. I don't love that, but we can do that. Alright, enter the village. I know the gossip for a bit does cost us a little bit of time, but also I do want to be friendly with the people here. Alright, I am willing to do 1 more of these. We still have some money. I will just keep my fruit for myself. Alright, that was a terrible waste of time. Hey Quintus, I have your food rations. He gives you a radiant smile. He cups his large, scarred hands, waiting for you to give him the packages. Once you're done, he opens a sack of nuts and shoves them into his mouth. The bandage is the only thing that stops him from looking like a hamster. But seriously, you're tempting the forest. You need to seek shelter. Nah, he waves it off with a smile, but once he speaks, his voice cracks. And where would I go, anyway? Well, Foggy's place is not that far. Maybe for ye, but our tavern's already full. I'd have even less space there than I have in this tower. He gives you a long look. I could spend time with Pelt's crew again, but I can't afford the stay from now till spring. Unless they're looking for a pair of hands. I'd better stay here. So the thing that stops you from going to the Pelt right away is dragon bones. I mean, that's a pretty big thing. In the north, everyone looks after themselves. The hunters may be my friends, but I won't beg them for help. Okay, but don't you miss fresh, warm food? Rations lose their charm quickly. He lets out a hiss and raises his chin proudly, but after another breath, he licks his lips. Okay, alright, fair enough. We'll come back to this. So I would like you to open the gate. I don't think you should enter the wilds, but if you say so. Yeah. Alright, we're doing a thing that is perhaps inadvisable here, but I'm in pretty good shape. And we need to know, right? You lift the bar on your side of the gate and wait for Quintus. You hear him pressing his feet to the wall as he climbs down with the help of the rope, getting on the ground swiftly. He gives you a serious look from the open gate. Safe travels, Warden. I travel as far east as I can, and we're doing it, pretty early in the morning. Gosh, I wish I had a crossbow. The forest gives way to rocks and green hills, but among the tall trees are numerous monkeys sitting in small groups, loud yet shorter than half your size. They distort the green leaves with red, brown, white, and blue fur. As you approach their territory, their excitement grows. They climb up and down the trunks, sway on vines, jump between branches, or hang down, putting to use their long tails. They throw at you countless angry glances and grunts, but also cones, branches, and chestnuts. A piece of their fresh feces lands close to Aggro, but the pack's aim is rather miserable. Yelling at them is just going to get them more excited, right? I can't imagine this having any meaningful effect. I'm just going to ride forward for the moment. Uh-oh. You try to shield yourself with your cloak, but you enter an avalanche of missiles. One of the rocks painfully hits your arm, but your gambeson's in great shape and softens the blow. Soon after that, your shoulder blocks something from reaching your forehead. You rush Aggro, which is more than happy to follow your command. The monkeys follow you, swinging between the trees, until they reach the edge of their territory, letting out triumphant shouts. Yeah, you sure showed me. Let's get out of here. Every minute or so, you get lost in the dense woods. When possible, you stick to the remains of the beaten path, clearing the overgrown thicket that blocks your way, but it would take many more travelers to sustain such a trail. The land around you may lack greens, but is far from being empty. The fallen boughs and dead stumps are slowly devoured by ants and mushrooms, a web-like labyrinth of wooden walls, while the white termites, larger than your hands, continue their never-ending march. Their guards notice your presence, but simply form a warning line in front of their workers. The trees are taller than the temple in the city, with trunks resembling the legs of giants. The shadows they cast are like a carpet, and the few beams of light nourish the spare bushes and ferns, the only plants that aren't choked by the rotting late summer leaves, shaped like toothed squares as large as your face. Alright, now that I'm more familiar with this part of the forest from being lost in it, I may be able to find a smoother path. And I'm keeping an eye on the position of the sun here. The road is bright, empty, surrounded by sparsely growing trees, gentle hills, and meadows. It leads you to a cairn, a pile of rocks ranging in size from your abdomen to your fist. There's also quite a few tiny pebbles. A narrow, hardly passable trail leads south, but likely won't survive another year without travelers. Let me take a closer look at the stones here. The cairn is wider than two people standing side by side and taller than Aggro. The grass surrounds it tightly. It must be years old, but could just as well be older than any village in the north. You find rocks in many colors, including red, cream, white, black, and blue. Interestingly, the same colors as the monkey fur, and many dotted or mixed ones. While the cairn stays firmly beneath your touch, it would be easy to shatter it with a pickaxe or a single swipe of a dragon. You also notice old pieces of old chicken bones pressed among the rocks. Unfortunately, no coins. I am curious about the path south. How bad of an idea would it be? Let's check it out. You grab Aggro's lead and use your axe to get through the branches and the tall grass. After a few minutes, you reach a colorful meadow with orange, red, and white flowers as tall as a wheat field. Their late summer scent lures all sorts of insects as well as tiny birds. The path ends at the edge of the glade. A cat could leap at me from among the flowers. A bird or an ape could get me from above. There could be snakes. This fucking sucks. We are very worried. I do not trust this place, and I don't know what I would be looking for here, but it is curious. Do we have a reason? I don't think I have any, I'm just flipping through the thing here. Right, we'll do the bird hunting when it's time to do the bird hunting. Gotta bring news to Foggy. Yeah, nothing here has... I don't think we've learned anything about, flowers from the heart of the forest or anything. It's possible that whatever the value of this place is, we're not really equipped to see it just yet. We know that there are apes. We went out of the territory of that one tribe of apes, so that doesn't mean they're the only tribe of apes. We can certainly hear an awful lot of birds in the soundtrack. I'm going to move forward, but keep my eyes turned upward. That looks bad. You tether your mount to a tree and tread forward carefully, keeping your eyes and weapon high. Soon the nearest birds flee from your scream. You reach to your side and look down. 100-legged worm, as wide as your fist and maybe 3 feet long, has crawled underneath your gambeson and chewed off a bit of your flesh. Okay. I may have just gagged in the real world. You pull it by its tail and stretch out your arm. The creature wiggles in the air, incapable of bending its shell enough to scratch your hand. It's red and covered with armor made of plates. You throw it away and touch the hole that it left in your clothes. There's hardly any blood. Well, I guess I seek anything of value left among the plants. Your steps force the mice and insects to spread, but your presence remains hardly noticed by the colorful light around you. Well, let's grab some herbs and shit. You added a set of rare herbs to your bag of ingredients, including snake bait. You maneuver your knife, putting into small vessels the herbs you need to keep fresh, and separating them from the ones you'll dry in the sun. If it weren't for the occasional 100-legged worms that keep disturbing your work, it wouldn't differ from a regular work in the garden. Alright, and then back on our journey. That's gross. That's a real gross thing what happened to me there. Your eyes wander between the wall of trees and shrubs on one side and the dirty pond on the other. The road itself is wide, covered with soggy logs that keep the ground from turning into mud. It's breaking under your mount's hooves, letting out what sounds like a sigh of relief. The water insufferably stinks of carrion, and is covered with a blanket of green plants and white flowers that draw countless buzzing insects. All this stuff, this is why I don't like to go outside. Even a horse shouldn't drink from this. Harsh. Agro tries to get familiar with the unusual pavement and speeds up to jump over a fallen trunk blocking your path. Once it lands, it breaks one of the logs in halves. Soon after, you reach a massive black saurian resting on the ground, enjoying the light at the edge of the forest. It seems to be ignoring your presence. Once again, Agro canters, and I trust its instincts, for I have no choice not to. Once the monster raises its head, you're already in the air. The beast pushes itself away from the ground with its forelimbs, trying to catch any chunk of flesh with its massive jaws, but you safely hit the ground and return to a trot slowly. I pay attention to the dead trees sticking out of the pond. They look similar to that saurian. It's a menacing place, even in midday. The colors of leaves range from greens to purples and overwhelm you with shadows. The stems of the shrubs twisted in all directions, seeking the slightest scraps of sunlight. The trees are not too tall, but their trunks are as wide as buildings. The neglected road has been carved into the thicket, an inch at a time, a corridor of plants with a floor made of pebbles that give way to saplings and vines. From time to time, you pass by many turns, relics left by roaming dragons, unicorns, and trolls. Some of them are still used by beasts, boars, striped cats, or packs of goblins. The birds are sharing their songs as cheerful as ever. When necessary, clear any thicket that's in Agro's way, and you reach a gap in the tunnel of plants. The meadow nourishes a lonely tree growing in the shadow of a rocky hill, surrounded by humble grasses. Near the tree roots, a wolf without fur is feasting on a human corpse, unaware of your presence. Okay, so people have spoken of the wolf without fur as though it is a very dangerous thing. We have the drop on it, though. I don't have a great weapon, but it is a weapon. The thing is, we don't know if it's alone, right? So attacking it might get us into some real trouble. But not attacking it could lead to it, deciding to come after us, or... I really don't feel like I know what's going to happen here if I click basically any of the options. It's a little bit nerve-wracking. If I choose to take a moment to examine things, I am worried that it is going to notice our presence, and we're going to lose the element of surprise. So I'm going for it. I'm going to try to sneak up on the beast with my axe. I wish my Gambason was in better condition, but we are at maximum vitality. The wolf notices your steps quickly. It leaps away, turns around, gives you a long look, and dashes forward, opening its jaw. I prepare for the strike. Agro takes a few steps forward, too scared to stay at your side, but too smart to enter the forest all by itself. So the wolf will jump on me. That's how wolves do. I want to resolve this as quickly as possible, right? If there are other wolves around or something, playing a game of fucking chess with this thing is not the way to survive. I'm just gonna go for it. You slide beneath the jumping creature as it's in the air, aiming at a place where your throat used to be. Losing balance, you take a swing with your axe, but find only air. Your knee burrows in the grass and you hit the ground with your face. A cricket runs away from your mouth. Shit. The beast walks around you with a lowered head, seeking an opportunity. You can't tell anything from its black eyes. Your foe keeps its distance, hesitant to strike. I am not going to throw my axe at it. That feels very unwise. I don't have another weapon, right? I don't have like a dagger or anything. No. Throwing my axe feels very foolish. I'm going to intimidate it. The thing is, failing to kill it. I really worry about failing to kill it because it could just like track us and come back on us later. But it's hesitant, right? Maybe we can play on that hesitance. I'm going to try. Shit. Wow, that's real bad. You wave your arms around, showing it how large and scary you are. It flinches once, then again, but then leaps forward and bites your arm, tearing apart the thick sleeve. You cut, kick, punch until the monster steps away, ready for another clash. Yeah, okay. So we've been picking options with dice next to them. The game not showing us the dice means that I don't know if these are bad strategies or if we're just getting unlucky and rolling badly. And like, I want to be clear here. I'm not saying that I think that that's a bad move on their part. Like, obviously, being able to see the dice is cool and useful, and it enables certain kinds of thinking about the game state, but not being able to see the dice puts you into other kinds of thinking that can be very valuable as well, especially if, like, a tone of uncertainty and danger is part of what you're trying to cultivate, as this area so obviously is. See, this one doesn't have a die roll attached to it, which is curious. I'm going to see what this does. I clash with it, cutting it once it gets closer. The beast jumps at you and pins you to the ground, but not before you cut into its side. You push away its throat with your forearms, saving your neck, while you spasmodically move the blade up and down, side to side. You can't catch a breath. Finally, you find a way to kick the weakened creature off of you. Gasping for air, you get up, raise your blood-covered blade, and step away, avoiding another bite. The beast whimpers, leaving a bloody trail behind it, but it stays close, observing your legs. Okay. Feeling pretty rough. We could try intimidating it again now that it's actually wounded. I am gonna try it. Nope, I'm dead. Alright. Basically, nothing goes wrong. Nothing goes differently about that. Samhain's soul has left its shell, but they do let us replay the encounter from the beginning, which honestly is more mercy than I was expecting to be given. Maybe we need to bail. I'm going to take a moment to look at the corpse. You can't see much from afar. It's in one piece, with blood-soaked clothing torn to pieces, indistinguishable from the loose flaps of skin. It has no sacks, bags, or equipment, but you spot a trail of blood leading into the trees. The creature must have dragged the shell from the deeper woods. See, I would really fucking love to know who this is. I think it would be very good for us to know who this is. The beast raises its head. Its ears are shaking. Yeah, it is going to notice us. But I wasn't able to sneak up on it before anyway, so... I'm gonna look around here. You see no other creatures. The road in front of you is passable. The birds in the sky seem harmless. If we could handle this thing, I think it would be really, like... I would like to be able to push forward, and also I'd like to be able to examine the body and where it came from and see if we can figure out if it's one of our missing hunters. I mean, it's somebody who went missing recently, right? And I don't know that we've heard of all that many people that that's true of. I look at the wolf. It's standing on all fours, crouching forward with blood dripping from its massive canines. Its head, and especially its jaw, are wide and long like those of a horse. Its brown shell is muscular with pronounced shoulder blades, the hair resembling your arms, and a tuft of black fur at the end of its foot-long tail. The beast turns its head toward you. Its eyes are like shining charcoal. I'm going to look at the tree. Okay. So yeah, it was going to attack eventually. It's interesting, though, that you have to look at everything before it actually comes at you. The game gives you a lot of chance to escape, which makes me, from a game design standpoint, makes me think maybe this is a fight that is unwise for us to take on. It is coming after us. I'm going to try to fight it again. I jump down, ready to strike the beast with my axe. So this didn't work last time, but it could have been a bad die roll. We're at maximum vitality. I feel like this is a good strategy, and we're ready to pull it off physically. Step aside, avoiding the charges. I like the idea of a conclusive, decisive strike. Okay, same result. Throwing our axe is just going to get us killed. I feel fairly confident of that. Alright, I jump forward, swinging at it while avoiding its jaws. Our armor's in pretty good shape right now, and if we end up trading blows with this thing, I think that probably goes to our benefit. It sidesteps and reaches you with its bite, tearing through your sleeve. You lunge away to save yourself from its jaws, so I didn't get anything out of that. That was purely bad. If I had another weapon, like even a backup knife or something, throwing the axe might make sense. I just can't imagine this thing not dodging a clumsy axe throw. And then my axe is on the ground and over there, right? I'm gonna roll this die again. Exactly the same result. I am wondering if maybe the die is a polite fiction on the part of the game. It doesn't really seem to be vulnerable to intimidation at all. Maybe I should take I Clash with it while we still have a healthy Gambison, in the hopes of trading damage, like I said. And then once it's weakened, we can try some other stuff. Alright, let's do this. Yeah, okay, same text. Now I jump forward, swinging at it while avoiding its jaws? Nope, that really doesn't work. Alright, I throw my axe. The rotating blade lands between its ribs. With a painful whimper, the wolf falls on its stomach, then removes the weapon by rubbing the haft against the ground, most likely broadening the wound. Before you reach the creature, it takes a few desperate leaps away, but even then it turns around again, meeting your eyes. At least you've got enough time to pick up your weapon. Interesting. So we've really fucked this thing up at this point. I'm gonna intimidate it. We're at the place here where if I do this wrong, we die. See, like, it's almost certainly wounded, but it doesn't seem like it's moving any slower or anything. I worry this is going to end up with the bad swinging again. You wave your arms around, showing it how large and scary you are. As you shout, moving toward it, it leaps away, growling and flinching nervously. After one last howl, it flees, and I chase after it until it disappears among the trees. You take a couple of deep, slow breaths and stretch out your arms. Agro is looking around, stepping in place. You approach it slowly, speaking with a soft voice to calm it down, and grab the water skin to wash your wounds. Well, this has gone terribly. I examine the corpse. Parts of its chest, face, neck, and arms were turned into a red mush. The wolf didn't break any bones, not even the ribs. The first worms start to crawl over its blood-soaked clothes. The human was a male with brown skin and short black hair. His brown pants and green jacket were made of dyed leather. Inside the left ear, you spot a trinket made of an animal bone, which contrasts with the dark skin and lures your eye away from the blood. Knowing Ephron's description, you have no doubts. You found Vashel. Alright, let's take the earring. With a few splashes of water, you wash the cold blood off your hand and the knife. I consider burning the corpse. It would be best to burn the corpse. I don't know that we have the time to do this. There's plenty of birds gathered at the edge of the meadow, waiting for you to walk away from their next meal. The larger beasts will come soon. You don't have much time, surely not enough to make a pyre. But a corpse not dealt with now is a greater threat later, and also on top of it, my ancestors, there's a whole thing here. My belief system requires me to try, I think. Yeah, I'll spend a few minutes doing the bare minimum. You grab the only boot worn by the corpse and drag it toward the middle of the trail, then spend some time surrounding it with dry sticks and grasses, then cover it with a single dry bough. The guts are likely to put out the fire soon after your departure, but maybe you'll be lucky. You light up a simple torch and set fire in a couple of promising spots. As the skin and hair start to burn, Agro gives you a weird look. You realize that it hasn't used any of this time to graze. I leave the torch here. I'll prepare another one before I go to sleep. Agro rushes you with a snort, and I ride away. The stream ahead can be crossed by a humble ford made of hundreds of rocks that used to reach from the bottom to the surface, but is now partially demolished, either by time or a living creature. For a rider, crossing it won't be much of a problem, but most travelers would have to take off their pants and shoes. Moving an entire wagon would pose quite a challenge. The water is clean and the banks are low, a good watering spot for Agro. I worry. I mean, it's a river, right? It's not. There's probably not saurians. Man, maybe. It says stream. It's probably not deep enough. So we could spend some time trying to trying to make the ford more functional. I don't know that makes a lot of sense for me to do, especially right now. There's not going to be anybody coming along to use it. For now, I ignore it. The path leads you uphill. The trees are getting sparser and smaller. More sunlight touches the ground. The signs of human touch are rare. The large, lone boulder surely draws attention. You can't guess its age, but the paths around suggest that it was passed plenty of times already. The remains of red paint are covering the eastern side. It's the same message as the one you saw at the southern crossroads. Don't enter. Danger ahead. You look behind you. I pat Agro. It did well. Your palfrey snorts and tosses its head, pinning its scared ears back. You'd like to tell it you're proud and grateful, but even if it could understand you, it wouldn't listen. I travel to the gate in the west, so this is going to take me all the way back to the... So wait, where am I? I'm right here. We filled in little bits of this. So if I'm able to just go back to the gate, It'll probably like, roll the dice and make me do stuff. Mostly what I was doing was trying to figure out if I could get a timer on how long it would take to go back. Well, this way then. As long as you ride uphill, the forest is sparse. Soon after, the tree roots tear the path apart. The road is coated with branches, acorns, leaves, and chestnuts, and some seedlings have already broken through the pitted surface of the road. If left undisturbed for another year or two, the forest will reclaim this place. Finally, you ride upward again. The plants are getting smaller, the road more rocky. I sigh with relief. While the hills are full of life, you don't hear anything coming from the watchtower. Its upper level lacks a wooden platform from which the guards could fire their crossbows or drop stones on opponents below. So this place was not meant to be used in combat, but rather as a shelter from claws and fangs. Such structures can be found in especially untamed parts of the Dragonwoods, used occasionally by travelers or patrolling squads. Since the end of the war, the cities can't find enough people and dragonbones to keep them in good shape. You see no footsteps, no lights, no fresh trash or latrine. The birds are preening their feathers on top of the tower, while the branches of nearby trees are swaying in the fierce cold wind. We could just continue on. I mean, we should check this out, right? I am way more nervous than I was previously due to our basically unarmored and very nearly dead state. Can I just, in my inventory, like, click on food and... Yeah, we should probably bump our nourishment now. At some point, these plants are going to, like, go bad, right? Yeah, I'm going to eat real quick. We'll just go up to 3. At least one of my bars can be in good shape. Okay. We made it past the worst of the danger. There's a lot that is going to have to happen between now and nightfall for us to feel safe at all. But I think this is maybe a fine place to call it for today. It's important that we figure out what's going on in the heart of the wood, right? And finding Vashal's corpse was a valuable thing. But gosh, we sure paid. When you come back next time, I will mostly be figuring out how to claw some element of that price back from the game. Because gosh, it sure would be nice if I didn't feel like I was going to die the next time a monkey so much as looks at me. And we'll see you then.